ASI price prediction, blow 5,000% by 2030. That's what the experts are saying. There's an altcoin right now that appears in almost every AI portfolio. Superintelligence Alliance. Experts are already talking about a growth of over 5,000% by 2030. But I wonder, is that even realistic? I've taken a detailed look at the numbers, the partners, the roadmap and everything. And what I've found could completely change your perspective on AI investments in the crypto space. Welcome to 10x Crypto, your channel for honest, data-driven altcoin analysis. By the way, if you don't have a crypto exchange yet, check out my favorite one. It's straightforward, it's secure, with a reputable base in Switzerland. And if you sign up through my link, you'll even get a bonus, up to $50 in Bitcoin, and you start directly with silver rank. That means you get cash back right away. You can find all the info in the pinned comment. Just use my link. Today we're talking about ASI. Many have heard of it, but very few understand what it actually does, so let's take a look at it now. What makes ASI so special now? Originally, it was a cooperation between Fetch.ai, SingularityNET, and Ocean Protocol. But the Ocean Protocol officially dropped out in 2025 and is focusing again on its own data economy solution. Today, Fetch.ai, Singularity, and CUDOS form the active core of the alliance. Their goal, to build a decentralized AI infrastructure that is open, secure, and independent of big tech. In short, ASI wants to decentralize the power over AI, so to speak. But how does it work technically? The blockchain uses its own proof-of-stake system and combines multi-agent architectures from Fetch.ai with a neural symbolic AI model from Singularity. And CUDOS provides the decentralized computing power, the power with which AI applications can be operated worldwide. This creates a network in which AI agents trade data and computer resources with each other in real time, transparently, efficiently, and without central control. Today, a few large companies control almost all AI models. They decide who gets access to the data and the computing power. But ASI wants to break that up. The data should belong to the users again, and everyone from developers to enterprises can operate, train, and sell their own AI systems. This creates an open AI marketplace similar to DeFi but for artificial intelligence. But before we dive into the deep analysis, go ahead and grab a coffee and leave a like for me. And if you want to find real altcoin gems early, then you should check out my 10x Elite membership. There, on one hand, you'll get a look into my personal crypto portfolio, everything I'm invested in and where, but you'll also get access to the full 10x ranking list. I've analyzed over 100 altcoins for it. At the same time, you also get access to the 10x indicator, which I use in every video. So, if you want to move away from speculation and chance and instead rely on data, structure, and strategy, then the 10x Elite is the next logical step. You can also get a 30% discount on your first month right now. All the info is in the video description, it's the very first link. But a word of caution, a disclaimer, my channel is not financial advice, it's purely informational. Let's start with the market cap. ASI is at around $870 million US. That makes it a classic mid-cap with good potential. The AI sector is of course growing rapidly, and for that reason it gets a strong 8 in this area. Let's move on to the circulating supply. Out of 2.71 billion tokens, 2.36 billion are already in circulation, which means 87%. That's extremely strong, shows very little dilution and less selling pressure. The remaining tokens are clearly distributed: team, advisors, ecosystem. And there are no more sudden unlocks, meaning no hidden surprises. A strong 9 in this area. Let's move on to the roadmap. The roadmap is cleanly structured. 4 main areas: ecosystem, apps, AI models, and infrastructure. Important milestones like the token merger and the CUDOS integration were reached on time. The next step is the mainnet. The mainnet launch in 2026. The timeline is realistic and there are no exaggerated promises. A strong 8. So, who is the team behind ASI? They are led by Ben Gurtzel from SingularityNET and by Humayun Sheikh from Fetch.ai. Both are AI pioneers with decades of experience. Additionally, there's Janet Adams for operations and David Taylor for marketing. So, a strong team with vision and technical depth. A strong 9. The narrative is powerful. Decentralized artificial intelligence as a counterweight to big tech. People want open, fair AI systems, not just what Google or OpenAI dictates to them. This topic will become significantly more relevant in the coming years. A strong 9. So what problem currently exists and what solution does ASI offer? They solve a real problem. Centralized AI is expensive, non-transparent, and controlled by a few companies. The solution: an open network where agents, data, and computing power collaborate decentrally that saves costs and fosters innovation. A strong 9. Next, what about sustainability at ASI? They use proof of stake and, through CUDOS, a system that incorporates unused computing power. This is more efficient and ecologically sound than, for example, conventional data centers. That's why it gets a strong 8 here. Then what about the investors and the capital? They are backed by BitGet, Spark, Digital Capital, Dime, and GDA Capital. In addition, there are ecosystem funds of approximately $50 million for a buyback and grant program. This shows that the capital is definitely available to actively implement the roadmap. Strong 8. Then it would be the competition. Competitors include Bittensor, Render, Akash, and Nia. But no one actually covers as many areas as ASI. They are united in an ecosystem through the alliance of agents, data, and AI computers, which is powerful. By the way, if you're also interested in the other analyses, for example, I've also analyzed renders, then take a look at the playlist, the 10x Universe. I've included the link in the video description below. Here's a strong 8. And by the way, I've found 2 exciting altcoins for next weekend that I recommend you don't miss. So subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss it. Here's a strong 8. Next point, marketing. ASI relies on strong partnerships, regular AMAs, and specialist conferences. The community on X, for example, is growing steadily. They have high activity, a strong 8. Then what about comprehensibility? Decentralized AI is complex to begin with, but ASI explains itself in an understandable way. AI agents trade data and computing power independently. So the principle is clear, the depth is of course technically demanding. Nevertheless, a solid 7 here. So, what about the long-term vision? The goal? A decentralized supercomputer by 2045. That may sound futuristic, but with their current foundation, it's not unrealistic. Long-term thinking, clear milestones, strong partners. Here's a strong 9. Then what about tokenomics? Are they deflationary? What about the supply? Maximum 2.71 billion tokens. However, they have earnings and also burn mechanisms. This means that the more the network is used, the more tokens are burned. This makes the effect deflationary, and that naturally increases the price, which is a positive thing. A solid 8 in that area. Then, what about the fully improved market capitalization? They are in a good range here. They have received positive reviews. There is no overvaluation, which is definitely a positive sign. Therefore, a strong 9 in that area. Then, what about the trading volume? It had over 1 billion tokens in daily volume. That means they are extremely liquid. This shows genuine interest from the market and not just hype. That's a strong 10. Then what was the token distribution? This is also an extremely important topic. The distribution was fair. The team and consultants have fixed non-disclosure periods. The community and stakers hold large shares. There is no unhealthy distribution here. Concentration is visible but not massive. A strong 8. Then we come to the top coin holders. How is the concentration level? The top 10 wallets hold approximately 25%, but those are mainly crypto exchanges or staking pools, which is fine. There's no single whale with extreme dominance. A 7 in this area. Next, what is the utility of the ASI token or coin? It has real utility. Payments for AI services, compute, data, and governance rights. This isn't an empty utility token, but one that's a functional component of the system. A strong 9. Then let's move on to their community. They have over 100,000 followers on X, active discussions, active on Discord, active on Telegram. High activity, strong growth since the merger. If you're an ASI holder yourself or a fan of the project, write #ASI in the comments so that many people become aware of these videos, this coin, and this data-driven approach. Make your voice heard. Here, a strong 8. Next, what upcoming events are there? In the coming months, we have the Hyperon AGI update, the ASI chain testnet and its rollout, and partnerships for cloud compute. This, of course, ensures continuous attention, which is good. An 8. If you think the topic of artificial intelligence in the crypto space is already over, you are greatly mistaken. ASI could become the foundation for the biggest and next AI wave on the blockchain. And that is precisely what makes this project so exciting. On my 10x ranking list, they achieve 84%. That's an extremely strong result that even I didn't expect. I'll show the list here. But that also means strong fundamentals and strong tokenomics. Over 85% of the tokens are in circulation. That's positive. A strong and experienced team. They are AI pioneers. A clear roadmap. They want mainnet integration, the Hyperion update, a real use case, AI agents, a data ecosystem, and decentralized computing power. The community is also growing solidly. The project remains technologically stable despite the withdrawal of Ocean Protocol. ASI is something very special in this space, because the more people use artificial intelligence, the more they also want sovereignty over their data. And this is where ASI comes into play. But what does all of this mean for the price now? Let's get to the price scenarios. As always, we'll start with the bear scenario. Imagine the crypto market takes a downturn. Regulation, interest rates, really bad sentiment. The AI hype flattens out in the short term. In that case, ASI would likely fall back to its base, showing weak values. Here we might see price ranges from 50 to 80 cents. Let's move on to the normal scenario. Here, the market is already performing solidly. The market grows, AI remains a trend, and ASI delivers as planned. Partnerships, updates, mainnet, everything proceeds without any major surprises. In that scenario, ASI could mathematically reach 1.5 to 2.5 US dollars. Now let's move to the optimistic scenario. Imagine the AI sector explodes again. New projects, media hype, institutional interest, Fetch.ai, Singularity and CUDOS deliver, and ASI becomes the face of a decentralized AI structure. Then we're talking about prices from 5 to 7 US dollars. That would be a massive increase, and not just from hype, but from fundamental data. Now let's get to the very optimistic scenario, the breakthrough. Now, the big picture. The moment when AI, decentralized AI, truly takes off and displaces centralized systems. If ASI realizes its vision of an open global AI infrastructure, then we're not just talking about a coin, but an entire digital economy. In that case, they could reach a mathematically calculated 10 to 20 US dollars. And now for 2030, as always, first the bear market will return. Some altcoins will lose 99%, but then it will go back into a bull market. A world in 2030 might be a world of decentralized superintelligence, and ASI would be laying the groundwork for that. Then over 20 US dollars would be theoretically and mathematically possible. That would be the 50x scenario, or 5,000% that some experts are talking about. But now, back to the present. What does the chart say right now? When would be a good entry point for me? What's the current situation? Let's get to the chart analysis. Hello and welcome to my chart analysis for ASI, although it's still called FET at the moment, but the merge, or the renaming, let's say, of the name is scheduled for 2026. In any case, all the others have been, let's say, converted into FET. Therefore, that's the main coin of ASI. And what does it look like at the moment? First, for your information, I use TradingView and a self-developed indicator that actually shows me two things. For example, many people are selling, we are entering oversold zones. You can see that here, especially with a large green dot, that we are oversold. On the other hand, many people are buying, hype is building again. Then we enter overbought zones, which is indicated by a red dot. At the same time, we have small red and green dots here, which basically means a trend change. So here we had a bullish trend change, which is green. We were pushed up, and here we have a red dot, which means a bearish trend change. How does it look for ASI at the moment? We saw here when they started, boom, they've been on the market for a long time. There was a massive push here that was in 2024. Now we've gone down significantly again. We had a green dot form here that was during the flash crash. We also dropped very sharply in a short time, but then went straight back up again. 300%. That's pretty extreme. Anyway, what's the current situation? As you can see, we've been pushed up again here strongly, but now we've formed a red dot, which suggests that it could theoretically continue to go down. And we're also seeing another sell-off here now. That's why I would generally be cautious at the moment. But as for when I get into altcoins, for example, like ASI or other altcoins, I cover all of that in the 10x Elite. And if you want to use the 10x indicator yourself for your own analyses, you can get it in the 10x Elite, or you can get it completely separately. You can find all the info for that in the video description. They're the first 2 links. Stop before you go. If you want to know how ASI stacks up against other altcoins from the AI sector like Bittensor or Render, then check out both analyses. I've analyzed Bittensor here and Render here. Have fun with that. Thanks for watching and see you in a bit.